Okay, so ready to ditch the all-inclusive resorts and those cramped airplanes.
I'm always up for an upgrade.
Well, this deep dive is going to blow your mind because we're talking about the future of tourism in the year 2124.
100 years out.
No more faster planes, fancier hotels.
Right.
We're talking completely reimagined getaways.
Right.
Like, imagine just casually mentioning over breakfast, honey, I'm thinking of going to space this afternoon.
Well, this excerpt we're looking at today, 100 years ahead, the mind-blowing evolution of tourism, that's exactly the kind of future it paints.
So no more souvenirs, just straight up space travel.
Pretty much. We're talking underwater cities, time travel, even the chance to see the world as an octopus.
Okay, now that's a travel blog I'd subscribe to.
All right.
But let's start with something a little more familiar. Instead of first class, how about a luxury suite in an orbital hotel?
Sign me up. Forget those cramped airplane cabins. This document talks about waking up to a view of Earth from your room.
Okay, but how is that even possible? Are we talking like a space station converted into a hotel?
Think bigger. The Celestia Astoria. It's this massive rotating hotel.
Wait, rotating? Why does it need to rotate?
To simulate gravity, of course. It spins, creating this centrifugal force, so you're not just floating around. They've thought of everything: radiation, shielding, a breathable atmosphere. They even mention lunar flybys as like a weekend side trip.
A lunar flyby? That's an expensive Uber ride. But seriously, what about those of us who prefer a little more, oxygen with our vacations?
Okay, then how about diving deep literally into Aquapolis?
Aquapolis. That sounds like something out of, well, Aquaman.
Right, but this is a city submerged over 3,000 meters below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. We're talking bioluminescent pathways, submersible tours. You can even observe a colossal squid in its natural habitat.
Okay, that's either incredibly cool or the start to every deep-sea horror movie I've ever seen. But seriously, how do you even build something like that? Isn't the pressure down there immense?
That's where the mind-blowing part comes in. They're talking about these new ultra-strong, transparent materials. Basically, they can withstand the crushing pressure of the ocean depths and create these massive domes and tunnels, all while letting people interact with marine life like never before.
That's incredible. But what about the impact on the ocean itself?
Well, they emphasize this idea of responsible tourism, non-disruptive observation research opportunities. They even have something called a midnight zone sleepover.
Hold on, a midnight zone sleepover.
Yeah, it's this reinforced bubble where you can observe the deep ocean without disturbing anything.
Sign me up. Although, maybe with a nightlight, just in case. But let's say I'm less Jacques Cousteau and more, well, time traveler. Can 21 or 24 offer that kind of adventure?
Time travel might be a stretch even 100 years from now, but they do have this concept of virtual time travel using something called a chronosimulator.
Virtual time travel. Is this like those cheesy historical reenactments they make you watch in school?
Think less reenactment and more like total sensory overload. They're talking about neurohaptic bodysuits that simulate everything from touch to temperature, even smell. Then you have these sensory implants that basically drop you right into a historical environment.
Okay, so you're saying I could actually feel what it was like to be a Roman gladiator or something.
Exactly. Or how about navigating 17th century French court etiquette? The Chronos simulator lets you experience it all firsthand.
Wow. That's wild. But what about that whole butterfly effect thing?
Right, like you step on a bug in ancient Rome and suddenly pizza never gets invented?
Exactly. That's a risk I'm not willing to take.
Well, that's where the butterfly protocol comes in. It basically creates this closed loop within the simulation. So you can interact however you want, but any changes only affect you, not the actual historical timeline.
Okay, that's a relief. Wouldn't want to be responsible for ruining pizza for everyone.
Yeah.
So we've got space hotels, underwater cities, even virtual time travel. What other mind-blowing adventures are in store for the future traveler?
Well, buckle up, because next we're going interstellar. Get ready for an interplanetary cruise.
An interplanetary cruise. So like a Caribbean cruise, but instead of stopping for cheesy souvenirs, it's like, next up, active volcano on Mars. Don't forget your spacesuit.
You're not far off. They actually talk about the Olympus Mons Resort built right into a Martian volcano.
Wow. Talk about room with a view.
Right. But that's not all. They describe this incredible spacecraft, the MSS Gagarin, designed specifically for navigating our solar system. We're talking extended trips with stops at Jupiter, Saturn.
Wait, so we're not just doing quick flybys. We're actually landing on these planets.
Oh, yeah. They even talk about ice skating on one of Saturn's moons.
Okay, now that's just showing off. But seriously, it all sounds amazing, but a little intense, I mean, I like to relax on vacation too. Is there like a spa on this spaceship?
They thought of that. It's not just about exploration, the MSS Gagarin. It's designed for comfort, too. Low-gravity sports arenas, cosmic ray spas.
Cosmic ray spas?
Yeah.
What in the world is a cosmic ray spa?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but hey, 100 years from now, who knows what kind of pampering they'll have. Plus, if you really want to play it safe, there's always the holodecks for virtual adventures.
Okay, you had me at holodecks. But enough about space for a sec. What about something a little closer to home, like maybe turning back time right here on Earth?
Funny you should mention that. This document dives into rejuvenation vacations, specifically a place called Kronos Resort.
Kronos Resort. So is that like a fancy spa with some extra bells and whistles?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Think less facial and more like full-on age reversal. Nanobots repairing DNA damage, telomere restoration, even stem cell treatments.
So it's not just about looking younger, but actually reversing the aging process.
That's the idea. Although they do mention mandatory counseling sessions and a gradual re-aging process when you get back to minimize, freaking everyone out.
Yeah, good point. Don't want to accidentally cause a time paradox by looking too young.
Yeah.
But okay, this Kronos Resort, is there like a limit? How much younger can they make you?
Well, they do mention this Methuselah's secret package, which promises a 50-year age reversal.
Okay, 50 years. That's tempting, but I'd want to see the fine print on that one. Anyways, moving on. What else does 2124 have in store for adventurous travelers?
How about a journey to the center of the Earth?
Hold on, isn't that a bit, hot? I mean, I've seen the documentaries. It's all molten lava down there.
Right, but in 2124, they've found a way. These vehicles, called lithospheres, they can withstand the extreme temperatures and pressures. Passengers get to travel through the Earth's layers, see magma flows, tectonic plates.
Okay, so it's like a geological expedition more than a relaxing vacation, but still, pretty impressive. So what exactly are we looking at down there? Any, tourist attractions?
They mention observation decks with windows made of some impossible material that lets you actually see the magma. And get this, they even found a massive geode filled with amethyst crystals the size of buildings.
Amethyst crystals the size of buildings. That's it, I'm booking a trip. Forget the beach, I'm going crystal hunting. But seriously, even with all this technology, wouldn't going to the center of the Earth be incredibly dangerous?
The document emphasizes safety. They talk about redundant systems and escape protocols.
Well, that's reassuring. Still, I think I'd need a good dose of that cosmic ray spa treatment after a trip like that. But okay, enough with the extreme adventures for now. What about something a bit more, should we say, introspective?
Then maybe consciousness tourism is more your speed.
Consciousness tourism. You're gonna have to explain that one.
Imagine transferring your consciousness into another being, experiencing the world through their senses.
Hold on, are you saying I could experience what it's like to be a dolphin? Or an eagle?
That's the idea. They call it Neurotrek. They talk about becoming an octopus, a nomad in ancient Mongolia, even an artificial intelligence.
Okay, now that's just wild. But wouldn't that be incredibly disorienting? I mean, to suddenly be in a completely different body.
They've thought of that. It's all carefully controlled and monitored by scientists and ethicists. There's even a neural backdoor to bring you back if things get too intense.
Okay, good to know there's an escape route. Still, the idea of someone else in control of my body while I'm off being a squid is a lot to process, but fascinating.
It definitely makes you think about the nature of consciousness, right?
No kidding.
Yeah.
So we've gone from space hotels to the center of the Earth to literally becoming other life forms. Talk about a wild ride. What else does the future of tourism have in store for us?
Well, as incredible as all this sounds, we haven't even touched on the biggest challenge facing humanity in the next century.
What's that?
Climate change. The document suggests that maybe the future of travel isn't about escaping Earth, but adapting to a changing one.
Adapting? What do you mean?
Imagine massive, self-sufficient cities that can navigate the globe, avoiding the worst of climate change while offering incredible opportunities for exploration and discovery. They call them nomadic floating cities.
Nomadic floating cities. It sounds like something straight out of Waterworld, but less dystopian, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely more high-tech luxury than post-apocalyptic wasteland. They actually make it sound pretty idyllic. Powered by renewable energy, vertical farms, hydroponics.
So it's basically a sustainable city on the sea, just cruising around, avoiding the worst of climate change.
Exactly. And they've thought about the whole fun factor, too. Underwater observation decks, sky sailing. They even talk about these cities being hubs for cultural exchange and scientific research.
Okay, so it's not all just kale smoothies and composting. Sign me up for the sky sailing. Speaking of which, we haven't even touched on what I'm sure is a wild ride for adrenaline junkies in 2124. What about amusement parks?
Get ready to scream because we're entering the world of altered gravity theme parks.
Altered gravity, as in they've figured out how to mess with the laws of physics for fun.
Pretty much. They call this place Gravity Land, and they say you can experience everything from lunar gravity to zero-G. They even have this roller coaster.
Oh, there's always a roller coaster.
Right. But this one is called Newton's Nightmare. It takes you from Earth gravity to weightlessness and back again.
Okay, yeah, I can see why they call it a nightmare. I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit just thinking about it. But how does it even work?
They don't get into specifics, but they mention localized gravitational fields, magnetic levitation, some advanced tech. The point is, they figured out how to make gravity a part of the ride.
Wild.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, as much as I love a good thrill ride, I'd want some serious safety assurances before strapping myself into that one. What's stopping me from, accidentally launching into space?
Well, they say safety is paramount. Invisible force fields, AI-controlled protocols, specialized suits for the riders. Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Okay, good, because I'd prefer to enjoy my funnel cake without the risk of becoming a human satellite. All right, we've covered everything from space vacations to gravity-defying roller coasters. What's the final stop on our journey through the future of tourism?
Buckle up, because this last one is a real mind-bender, ready to explore alternate realities.
Alternate realities. Okay, you're talking about parallel universes, like a glimpse into what if. Because, honestly, some days that sounds pretty tempting.
Think less about personal choices and more about historical events. Imagine a world where the Library of Alexandria never burned, or dinosaurs never went extinct.
Wow. To see how things could have played out so differently, it's kind of humbling, isn't it? Like, our reality is just one possibility out of, infinite possibilities.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what could we learn from these other timelines? Could it change how we approach the present?
Now, those are questions worth pondering. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up our deep dive into the future of tourism. From space elevators to time travel to the very nature of consciousness, it seems like the only limit is our imagination.
And our technology, of course.
Right. But hey, if this deep dive has taught us anything, it's that humanity is pretty good at pushing those boundaries. Who knows what incredible adventures await us just a century from now? So to all our listeners out there, keep dreaming big, keep exploring the world around you, and who knows, maybe we'll see you in the year 2124.